Hi there. This is a pretty late reply to a thread started by Sonicmainliner. He did it about 3 weeks ago, and I didn't have the time, opportunity to do them, and now I do. So it's a little late reply, but I hope it's still fine. You had 4 questions, and some of them that weren't touched on, I guess. First one, do you own musical memorabilia? I actually do, but I've looked high and low and I can't find it. I have a signed picture by Peter Thomas. He's a German composer. He did soundtracks. He did some really early recordings with Donna Summer. I love that guy. He's my favorite, second favorite film composer. And he's been known to work with electronics before the whole big electronic explosion of the late 60s. I have his picture somewhere, and it's signed, and I don't know where it is. So if I ever find it, I'm going to show it. But right now, I'm currently rearranging a lot of things in my house, so it's a mess. Sorry. Now, something I did manage to pick out, music-related movies. You wanted to know if I can recommend music-related movies. Yeah, I can. So let's get started. Empire Records. It's not a well-known movie here in Europe, I guess. Might be that it's better known in America, but this is a lot of fun. It reminded me of Breakfast Club, but 90s. Very 90s. Great music, great atmosphere, and great actors. And what it's basically about is Empire Records. That's a record store. It's about to close, or not close. It's about to be taken over by a major chain of record stores, and the owner really doesn't want that, but he has no choice. And then these youngsters here, including Liv Tyler and Renee Zellweger, they revolt, try to save their store while dealing with their personal problems. So that's a lot of fun. 24-Hour Party People, sort of the rise and fall of factory records, starting off with Tony Wilson, who's a TV presenter, having an epiphany while watching the Sex Pistols. It's at times hilarious and at times pretty sad. But yeah, it's a great movie. You need to see this if you love music. Puffin Stuff. Now, this is not the series. This is the movie based on the series from 1970. Music-related thing. It's a friggin' musical. That's what's music-related about it. It's a musical. It's stars Mama Cass. You can see her there, maybe. She's a witch in the movie. And it's about this little boy here, played by Jack Wilde. And he somehow is transferred to the magical world of Puffin Stuff. Magic and weird. Weird as in there's a rat in the movie that dresses up like a Nazi. Yeah. Weird. I love the movie, but that was creepy. That was like enjoying the movie, and then suddenly you see this rat character in a Nazi suit, and you're like, what the hell? Bad trip, but a lot of fun. This is Wild in the Streets I'm going to show you. It has another movie on it called Gas, but Wild in the Streets is about a musician that gets asked by a governor, I think, who wants to run for president. He gets asked to help him out. They're lowering the age limit for voting. But that guy, the musician, he has other plans. He wants to be president himself, so his plans are, you gotta be 15 to vote. I have a lot of 15-year-old fans and then they can vote on me, and that happens. And obviously it deals with responsibility, and 15-year-olds don't have the responsibility to choose their next president, according to this movie. It's a really good movie, great music, and a real fun part by Richard Pryor as the drummer of the band. Maybe my favorite music-related movie, it's The Monkees in Head. It's basically about the Monkees and the craziness that surrounded them, but acid fuel, highly acid fuel. Jack Nicholson co-wrote it, and he was probably on some LSD while writing this, because it's filled with just odd, crazy things, like Frank Zappa and his talking mule. You heard that right. Another high point in the movie is the Monkees as dandruff. You gotta see it to believe it, but I love this movie so much. It's awesome. More Zappa in 200 Motels. It's equally as weird, but it's a little more Zappa, I guess. I don't really remember the story. I once saw it as, but it's pretty wild and weird and crazy, and features a lot of people, among other Ringo Starr as Zappa. It's, as you can see, it's out on DVD and it's available from Amazon. So if you're interested, get it. If it's not, out of print yet. But really awesome movie. Just a little weird. This is the only documentary I'm going to show you. Chet Baker's documentary called Let's Get Lost, directed by Bruce Weber, who was a is a fashion photographer, and it sort of shows the young Chet Baker until the last year of his life, before he died under strange circumstances in Amsterdam. I have not seen this documentary yet, and I need to see this real bad. But apparently this is a masterpiece of documentary filmmaking, so let's check it out. More music-related movies. This is Performance, starring Mick Jagger as a rock star. James Fox is in it as well. He's a gangster. They meet up, they move in each other's apartment, and somehow, I have seen this years and years ago, they sort of switch personalities. Mick Jagger becomes the gangster and James Fox becomes the rock star. It's crazy, it's weird, but probably the best performance by Mick Jagger ever. Similar to Wild in the Streets, this is Privilege, directed by Peter Watkins. Again, a movie I haven't watched, but I'm gonna put this aside and watch this maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. It's again about a rock star that becomes involved in politics to keep the country's youth under control. Well, he's forced to by the government. Anyway, music is I forgot. I have the soundtrack, by the way, but I forgot who the guy is. That's actually the singer. It's Paul Jones, but what band was he in? Oh my god, I'm embarrassed. Paul Jones. Manfred Mann. He was in Manfred Mann. The information is in this thick booklet. I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, I'm so into these, late 60s pop art / psychedelic movies. I love them. Also, slightly music related is Jean-Luc Godard's Masculine Féminine, sorry. I love Godard. He's my favorite 60s director ever. His later work isn't as good as this period, but It's amazing. It's slightly about music in which Chantal Goya, who is a singer, plays an aspiring pop star. There are scenes where she's recording music, and you constantly hear pop music around them. So it's Godard's ode to pop culture, slightly. And I'm playing the soundtrack of this. It's Ex-Drummer. This is probably the most vilest. This is the most vilest piece of cinema that I'm going to show you right now. It's violent. It's sickening. It's sexist. At times, it's racist. But it's all done because I don't know why it's done. It's based on a book by a writer called Herman Brusselmans, who is, I think, the greatest Dutch language writer ever. It's all to be taken with a huge grain of salt. Huge grain of salt. So don't take it too seriously. It's about a band consisting of 3 people: guitarist, singer, bassist, and another guitarist. They're looking for a drummer. The band, I believe, it's too long since I last saw it. I think the band is called either the Handicaps or the Feminists, something like that. Anyway, they need a drummer. The thing is, they all have a handicap. The guitarist, lead singer, has a lisp, a bad lisp, so you can't really hear what the hell he's singing. Guitar player is deaf. And the bassist, he has a thing with his arm, which stems from him masturbating too much. So they need a drummer that has a handicap. So they go to this writer, a famous writer in Belgium, who is based on the actual writer of the book. They ask him, "You want to be part of our band?" And he goes like, "Yeah, sure. I'm not going to be part of that band of losers." But he starts to think about it, and he sees something in it. He sees an ideal opportunity to write a book based on these losers. So what he does is, he wants to join, but he has to have a handicap. And what it results into is him finding out that he has one giant handicap for a drummer. He cannot play the drums. So he joins up with the band, and they basically rehearse for a big music festival. But that rehearsal, I mean, the rehearsing is broken up into big drug uses, fighting, lots of sex, violence. It's hectic, it's weird. And the music, the CD, which comes in this special edition, is basically what you hear in the background. It starts out loud, and let's see, I have it on. It's just all over the place. It's Mark White on it, Millionaire, which I'm going to play right now. This is one of the key tracks of the movie. It's a version of Mongoloid. Well, it's awesome and highly recommended. Yet you gotta be able to take things with a giant grain of salt, otherwise you'll probably be offended. If you're easily offended, it's not a movie for you. The last 2 questions: good gigs and bad gigs. The good gigs, my favorite gig was actually Daft Punk. It's kind of weird because I hardly ever talk about Daft Punk, but they were playing in Amsterdam as part of a dance festival called, I guess, 5 Days Off. And they were playing at this big place in Amsterdam called the Heineken Music Hall. And Yes, there's a music hall sponsored by Heineken. And they were playing there, and I thought, let's go there. It might be fun. I like their music, so it could be fun. And I was blown away by their visual spectacle, because that's what it was. It was a huge visual spectacle. They were seated on top of this big pyramid, and there were lights and projections everywhere. Awesome. Not a great gig. Sorry. It's the last gig before they broke up and reformed later on, of Godspeed You Black Emperor. That was amazing. Stage was completely dark, and they had projections that fitted the music so well. Awesome. Sonic Youth, another band that I really loved when I saw them. And that's about it. I've seen a lot of gigs, and a lot of them were good, but these were the ones that blew me away. The bad gigs, I can only name one. Maybe a year and a half ago, I don't quite remember, but I saw Butthole Surfers, and I think Gibby and his mates discovered the Dutch coffee shop system and made use of that before they performed. First of all, they had like too many opening bands, which caused them to be like an hour and a half too late. They started too late, and they weren't into it. They were bored, probably. I don't know. Anyway, I was bored as well. I didn't like it. Even though I love the Butthole Surfers. So that's my response to this thread. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to do some more responses after I kind of take a glass of water, because my throat is itching. So have a good one. Peace.